Welcome back to another coffee break. I was reading the other day I was reading a blog by Seth Godin. If you don't know Seth Godin, I highly recommend that you check out his blog post. He posts something every day. He is a marketer, business entrepreneur, and the things that he posts are usually quite interesting. And he posted something that reminded me that I had heard this before, but I often forget it. I grew up with Betty Crocker. Betty Crocker cake mixes were the way to go. But if you weren't aware, Betty Crocker almost didn't make it. Now, there is no Betty Crocker. It's a fake name for the cake mixes. But as a cake mix, it almost collapsed in the market. And for one simple reason. The cake mix came in a box, and all you had to do was add some water, stir it up, bake it. And they couldn't get anybody to buy their cake mix. And so they decided that they would try something different. And they came up with a new version of Betty Crocker that required you to put in a little bit of milk and crack an egg. That was it. And suddenly, they couldn't keep it on the shelf. People were dying to get it in their house and to bake cakes for their family. And it comes down to one simple rule about how people operate. We want to work for something. This is true in every aspect of our lives. If things come to us freely, we're not interested in them. This is played out in my life when I went to college. I was an A-B student in high school. I should have been all A's, all honors classes. That's what I should have done, but I wasn't interested. And so that was too much work. I wasn't interested in the work. But when I went to college, I didn't even know at the time. I didn't know until later that I had a partial scholarship to college because of my ACT scores. My parents paid my way to college. I had to work a little bit to get gas money for my car, but I had a car, and I had a car that didn't have a car payment. And as a result, when I went to college, I did not appreciate college. I didn't go to classes. I hung out too much with my friends. I didn't study. I wound up at the end of my first year with, like a 1.6 or something grade point average. And after 2 years, I had to quit, go home, and work for a while. When I went back, 6 years later, when I went back to finish college, and I was paying for it out of my own pocket, suddenly I became a straight A student. That 4.0 looked pretty good. And this is the way it is in every aspect of our lives. If we don't have to work for it, we don't see any value in it. And so my question would be, in your classroom, for my teachers, in your classroom, how hard are you making students work for it? How much are you spoon feeding, and how much are you making them work for the effort? Because the more they have to work for it, now they're going to grumble and they're going to complain, and some of them are going to fail. That's life. But the more that your students have to work for the end result, the more they appreciate the work they put in and what they're doing. And I cannot emphasize this enough, that when things come too easy, when things are free, this is one of the things that when I was working for Pathway Press in Cleveland, Tennessee, which is our church publishing company, and I was working in the marketing department, we gave Christian education conferences around the country. And so we would set it up, we would go out, we would speak, each of us would have workshops we would do, that kind of thing, about how to be a better teacher in a Sunday school class. And what we found was that if we offered it for free, that we would have a lot of people sign up, but about 70% of them would never show up. If you don't have anything invested, Saturday morning, it's raining, the bed feels pretty good, I think I'll pass. But what we decided to do was to charge $5. And we would give them, when they got to the conference, we would give them a set of books valued at $25. Now they have an investment. They've paid $5 up front. And suddenly, when we had people register for the conference, on the day of the conference, we had less than 30% of the people not show up. Because suddenly that $5 became an investment that they needed to follow through on. Wasn't much, but it was enough. So my question this week, I suppose, is, to what level are you making your students work for what they're getting out of your subject? Because the more that you require from them, with all the griping and pathetic whining that might go on, in the end, they're going to appreciate the results so much more. We'll see you next week.